Hello and welcome to my No Man's Sky The Beginnings series. And it's a beginnings for some of you, and it's definitely a beginnings for me. So I've just been playing around 100 hours in a little over a week. I have maxed out my credits at close to 4.3 billion. When you get to 4.3 billion, you lose everything you make above that. It just evaporates in space or wherever it goes. It doesn't come up and say you hit the maximum. No, you just lose it. So just make sure that you stay under. It's like 4.294 or something like that. And right now, because you collect credits for different things, I'm just trying to stay around 4 billion because it's just way too easy. The Cobalt crash video that I've put together. Okay, before I get too far, you see from a distance that white hexagon with a freighter in the middle, and it says freighter. That's where you're going. The green ones are frigates. You buy frigates after you buy your freighter. So go to the white freighter box and you can see what it will cost, the size, and those kinds of things. And just like a space station, if you get into that blue cloud, it will grab you. It's a tractor beam. It grabs you and takes you in and sets you on the landing pad, just like a station does. Now what we're doing, you see the captains and the captain's name, the white hexagon with the freighter in it. You're following that. You're going to the captain or the admiral or commander or whatever it says that person is. And go ahead and hit the offer to buy the freighter. At this point, you don't actually buy it. You're going further in the buying process. And it says exchange for 16.1 million. You're not really exchanging. This is your first freighter. So that's the total cost of the freighter, and there's 19 slots and it's a class B. And I went ahead and said okay, because at this point I was already at 317 million, so I said oh well, why not. And my first thought was, I have no idea what to do with the freighter. I've heard a little bit here and there, but I really don't know what I'm to do with this thing. So you will see me roam aimlessly a little bit, and I'll fill in the gaps because at the time that I'm overlaying the audio, I have upgraded a few times and I have a fleet of frigates, so I can help you out. I'll fill in the gaps more. Now, other commanders will land on your freighter, and I guess it's like they're refueling or something like that, or inspecting their ship, whatever they do. The NPCs, computer generated characters and pilots and ships and all of that. So just get used to them landing and walking around their ship, and you can make offers on their ships too. So, and if you would look to the lower right hand corner of the video and you'll see a subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, and you get notified when I produce more of these videos. Eventually it'll help me out with YouTube. You can see I was trying to summon my ships, but what happens is if you leave the game and you come back, all of your ships will show up in the freighter. And I probably have called it a fleet carrier at times too, because we're doing the Elite Dangerous series and we have fleet carriers. So if I call it a fleet carrier, you know I mean a freighter, just in case if I've already done that. And in upcoming videos and other times, possibly within this video too, there's a few things that we'll have to do. For one, we'll have to create fuel pods or containers of fuel, so the frigates can be sent on an expedition. So we'll have to do that. We'll have to create little control rooms for each group of frigates that you send out, or each expedition that you send out. So we'll be doing that too. So there'll be many things that we wind up doing, and we'll clarify, but those are a few things you're going to have to do. And you'll probably want to purchase additional frigates. It comes with one frigate, and I found out it's probably best for me to have 4 frigates for each expedition. So I have about 30 frigates currently as of the time that I'm overlaying this audio. But those are a few things that we'll have to work on over time. And the last character that we came in contact with is the navigator. And if we talk to him, a list of expeditions will come up, and you'll see that also in this video or upcoming videos where we're working on that too. And then you assign the frigates that you have to each of those expeditions. And since it only comes with one ship, one frigate, you're only able to pick one expedition and send him off with that expedition alone, by himself. And that's really not a good plan. A good plan is do my cobalt crash, as I have a previous video on that. Collect, say, 1 billion plus, and purchase as many frigates as you can manage. And this is a list of all of the frigates you have. As you can see, we only have one. So, and it's awaiting orders. And its primary role, you see a 17 in the combat place. In the trade, it has like a 1, and in the, I believe that's the order that it's in. Well, we'll see as we go on. And 4 in the exploration, but we'll see those based on their role. You see the first one is combat. I don't remember the other 3 exactly, but as we go, we'll talk about that too. As you can tell, I'm still new at it also. And here, my first question was salvaged frigate module. And when I looked that up, it was saying, well, we had to destroy other freighters and do all this combat work to get salvage frigate modules. And it's like, oh man, I certainly don't want to hurt my reputation with all the, say, factions or the races or whatever that they basically are. But now there is another way. When you create each of the control rooms for the expeditions, they give you that first module that comes along with it. So don't worry about it right now. As soon as we create a control room, you'll get the recipe for the fuel. We'll also have to create a container, a warp fuel for the freighter also. And most of these other screens and things are just props. As you can see, you're not able to pull at them or activate them. And so most of it's just props themselves. It's just that center console where the navigator is. There's like those 4 stations around that center area. That's about the only thing that we can deal with in this room area. And if you were wondering, yes, I'm using a VR. I use the Oculus Rift S VR, so the screen shakes and moves when I move my head, and that's why. And in these hallways, prior to the blast doors, those 2 sets of blast doors, after that, in these hallways, you can create those control rooms. You can create other rooms also. So we'll be doing that in the future. And this is a large room area that in the future I will be putting a refinery and a save point and a Galaxy trade terminal and all of that kind of stuff in here. And so it's just an area that I could build equipment in. Please look into the description underneath the video and you'll see ways of donating. This has been a very difficult year for us financially and for the YouTube channel, and we need to add hard drives to our backup system, so we can always use some help. And no amount is too small for a donation. And on the in-game video, I was trying to figure out how to summon the ships. And as I said before, as soon as you exit the game and come back, they'll all be in your freighter. You will be able to create a control room for your exocraft that will summon them. But I don't think that there is a control room to summon your ships. They just show up between relogs. And I just want to bring up a warning. One thing I did notice after purchasing a freighter and having it summoned to my home system, near where my base is at, the pirate activity did dramatically increase around the freighter. As I said before, you will notice I do a lot of roaming aimlessly in the beginning because I was trying to figure things out at the same time. That's why I come in after the fact with the audio. To explain my aimlessness and what you might expect in the near future. So I logged out of the game and logged back in, and guess what? All of my ships are here. Okay, now we're going to see if we can upgrade or do an exchange for this freighter for a freighter that's a higher class or has more slots. In No Man's Sky, all of your equipment, most of it's about slots, how many slots you have, because it's the more upgrades you can do and more technology that you can add to your equipment. And again, the green hexagon that shows like a freighter or a frigate inside of it means those are frigates that are for sale. And while we're docking with the freighter, if you'll look underneath the video to the left, you will see our YouTube channel, GFM_RDG, where there's over 740 more videos for you to watch. And please remember to look to the lower part of the video to the right and click on that subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything. You get notified when I produce more videos, and eventually it'll help me with YouTube. And this area before the blast doors is kind of public, and after these blast doors that we're going to go through, that's private to the crew and to the owner of the freighter. In our existing freighter and this freighter they have the same number of slots, but this new one is a Class A and the old one's a Class B. So technologically, the new one has more capabilities. It's more streamlined than the old one. And again, this is our current frigate list, so we only have one frigate at the moment, and it's awaiting orders. And before you hit that exchange button, you might want to decline, go to your inventory list, which you can manage your old frigate from, move all of your cargo to your exosuit, and then you can transfer it to the new one, like the fuel. And I mentioned before, you don't need that salvage frigate data to create fuel. When you create your command rooms, it will give you the plans to create fuel. And if you go back to the system that you want your new freighter to reside in, it might be where the old one's at, go into that system, and where you want to place it, or near where you want to place it, summons your freighter, and it will move to that location. Now, I do cut out some of the video, that way it wouldn't take forever doing travel. But as you can see our lone frigate next to our freighter. You need a fleet command room for every expedition. and the maximum that you can have is 10, but the maximum expeditions though is 5. So hopefully the plan is that we can have up to 10 expeditions at one time in the future, because they're allowing us 10 fleet command rooms with only 5 actual expeditions. Now the mistake that I'm about to make, that you're about to see, is I'm going to send our lone frigate out on an expedition by itself. I should have never done that. We have frigates come back because of damage, that they're damaged while they're on the expedition. So I have changed that to a minimum of 4 frigates on one expedition, but I'm probably going to wind up sending the maximum, which is 5 ships or frigates per expedition. And you're also going to see where we get that fuel blueprint for free. Well, we still have to use the materials to create it, but we don't have to have the salvage frigate data to create fuel. You now see that we can send out a maximum of 5 expeditions. And what I understand is they only post new expeditions every 24 hours. So if you send out all of these expeditions and they all come back, as they say, in 2 hours, which that never happens, but they're listed here a duration of 2 hours, you would have to wait 24 hours for new expeditions to be available. Now the expedition is just waiting for us to provide fuel for the frigate. You might be able to see that the launch expedition button is grayed out, because right above that it's telling us we need fuel. Yeah, I'm missing a little of the recording, but when you go into the fleet command room and you see the one frigate, this is kind of further down the road, but when you select it or try to open it, at that point it would give you or download you the plans for the fuel. So then you go back and you click on one of the slots for the freighter, the storage, and one of the crafting that you can do is the fuel. And what you're seeing here is we had already sent out that frigate as of this point, but the time from right before this part is when we created the fuel. So if you'll just open up the expedition, it downloads you the plans, you go into the inventory of the freighter, you add or install a material, and then you can install the fuel, and it tells you the material that is required. And here is where you would craft a product, and you see the first 3 under that modify craft product. is the 50 tons of fuel, or 100 tons of fuel is the second one, and 200 tons of fuel is the third one. We also need that warp sail, and that's for the freighter to be able to have hyper jumps. That's the fuel for the freighter itself. Under the frigate list, it did say that our only frigate was on mission, and the time was ticking down. Now we need to find some frigates to add. As you get close to the frigates that have the green hexagon, they will call you. And you go to the quick menu and to the comms. And this frigate is a trade specialist, and you see their strong suit is 25 under trade, and then expedition is 6, combat is 6, and industrial is 7. So it's a good kind of mix, but they specialize in trade, so we need some that specialize in each group. And when it's all done, as of the overlay of this audio, I have about 30 frigates, and where probably 25% are the specialize in combat, 25% specialize in trade, 25% of them specialize in industry, and 25% in exploration. Because currently I need to, and I've been doing 4 per excursion, but I'm going to do the max of 5 in the future, ships going out on each expedition. And while you're watching this, please be sure to look to the bottom right hand corner of the video and press that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. You get notified when I produce more videos. And eventually it'll help me out with YouTube. Underneath the video in the description, you'll find ways to donate. Please consider donating. We need backup equipment, and we really need some help because our finances is taking a beating this year. And underneath the video to the left, you'll see our YouTube channel, GFM_RDG, where there is over 740 more videos just since January of 2020, as of the publication of this video. So I do appreciate you coming along, and we'll watch some more of us purchasing some frigates, and then we'll end the video when this part concludes. Again, I appreciate you coming along, and hopefully that you'll come along again and watch some more of our videos. And until next time, thank you for watching.